Magloops. One of the most often asked questions that I get daily is, what can I use as an antenna? And that's a very difficult question to ask, quite simply because one of the most important things about any station is the antenna system, but it's often kind of governed by compromise, and that compromise can range from you cannot work your radio station from your home or your home QTH, so you have to go out portable or whatever it might be, or it might mean that you can't work at all, so you've got to use one of these things, these digital nodes, and or you've got to use your mobile phone and an app from for whether it be Zello or whatever it might be. That's the compromise that happens. But one of the antennas that keeps cropping up, people ask about, and a lot of with things like the Ciro Mazzoni magloop, they are the Rolls Royce of these magloops. They work so well, and a lot of people that cannot have a large antenna system up in their garden manage to get by with something like one of the baby loops from Ciro, or the Ciro stealth loop. And we, at work we sell a lot of the stealth loop, we sell a lot of the baby loop, and people have really, really, really great experiences with them. But they do have their foibles. With the Ciro loop, the controller can be a little finicky. And typically a loop can be finicky. It may not like where it is or whatever it is. So that there are some kind of quirks that kind of hang around loops. Now, a little while ago, I put together a homebrew one made from a junk box. Now in here there's an airspace capacitor which is driven by a geared motor at the bottom. Now, I said in that video that actually I'm thinking about changing from the geared motor because it won't be accurate enough, it won't be granular enough. So my intention was to use a remote control aircraft servo to actually do the driving, and then I was going to use an Arduino to then control that servo. Well, I was looking through the stuff at work the other day that's just not long really sort of come in, and I noticed from Inac this, and this is Inac. They've got this. This is a weird loop thing. It's a loop kit, and what they use is this aluminium ducting tape. Now, I used to use that many moons ago when I was actually doing my apprenticeship in engineering. We used to use that stuff for some of the ducting that we used to put in buildings and stuff. And yeah, so I haven't seen it for quite a while, but it's been just repurposed, and it's actually quite interesting. But it gives you a little set of instructions here, and it sort of sets out what it is you've got to do, with the tape. And they're actually putting this on a piece of MDF board, and then they're actually cable tying the this capacitor to that board. And at the end of it all, you end up with an aerial that looks something like this. I don't know if you can see that. And what it is here is basically a loop antenna. The gap is actually filled with a capacitor, and here it's driven with a with what looks like a gamma match down the bottom. Now, there isn't enough detail, in my opinion, how they're doing that, how they're doing this gamma match. I need to speak to the factory and get some extra instructions on how to set that out. But nonetheless, I probably would make something up. I would probably use I would use the coax type loop and modify this in such a way that would mean I could use it, or use a wire which I could support from maybe the corner of a window opening or whatever, and then actually put this in a nice box and make sort of something of it. But anyway, that's another thing. However, like I said earlier, they're actually using this servo control, and it works much better than I anticipated. So let me just demonstrate this for you. Now, the kit comes with a controller, the capacitor itself, obviously the instructions. You get a power cable. I've modified this one very, very slightly, and I've cut a piece of power cable here, and I put an Anderson power pole on it, so it just makes things a little easier, and it connects up. But you can modify yours however you need to. And this is our sort of like demo unit for the videos that we're just doing on the loops. And say it comes with this controller. This is a bit cheap and cheerful, I'll be honest. It's got a cardboard dial in there. I would have to modify that. I think I'd probably change that for something like an acrylic one or something, and then make it look a little prettier. And yeah, I think it's a repurposed rotator controller. But anyway, there you go. And it uses this is all pre-assembled, by the way. The servo is actually already attached, as is the cable, and you simply just power the box up and then plug that into that, like that. You can see that. I'll try and zoom in a little bit more for you. How does that look? There you go. It's not so bad. Right, so what you need to do to get this to work is you press the button here, okay, and then you can rotate that, and I think you can see how fine that is. It is really fine. I mean, you can go really, really slow, and that is important with these, because you'll find that once you start to sort of get into the tune that you really want, it zips by really, really quick. It's really, really knife edge, sort of sharp, and so it's really important that you get this kind of fine sort of detail on there. And it might be that you could maybe put some frequencies on there once you've got your loop sort of sorted, because it does actually kind of remember where it is. So I mean, if I were to put this round to 0, you can sort of see the position of the loop. And then maybe I'll try and do that round. It's a bit jumpy, but, and then let's just say we'll zoom that round that way. And so you might be able to go back to 0 there. Yeah, it's pretty close. I would say that you might be able to maybe redo this sort of dial with maybe some frequencies on there, so that you can get back to sort of certain points on there. But it's an interesting little project. I don't think it's the cheapest thing in the world, but like I said earlier, I said if compromise is a compromise, and if this is sort of part and parcel of your solution for your particular problem, if you can't put like a bigger antenna up in your garden, or you don't have a garden, you live in a flat or whatever, this might actually be quite an interesting solution. You could potentially put like a wire in a window opening, sort of supported in each corner. Drive it with something like a one of the parasitic loop sort of ideas, where it's about 1/5 or 1/7 of the overall size of the loop itself. Drive that loop, that parasitic loop, and then use this to actually tune it all and put it in a nice box so that it's nice and safe. Because obviously with even with low power, 10 watts, this will be, you'll see there's about probably 2000 volts across this. So put this in a nice box, and I think this might be a nice solution for either a receive only or a QRP station, you know, even from a flat or an apartment. You know, so yeah, interesting concept. I think this has got a lot of potential, and it pleases me to because I have obviously had that idea where I was going to use one of these, and that they're using it with reasonable, you know, sort of reasonable sort of success. And yeah, I think that's really neat. So if you see this come up, it's well worth a look if it's all you can do. It's a bit sort of it's a bit homebrew, but there again, you know, you know, buying these sort of remote sort of capacitors, I should imagine's not cheap anyway. So yeah, it's a reasonable solution, and it does actually work quite well. So thanks for watching. If you like this little video, then please subscribe. Thumbs up, thumbs down, it's all the same, it's all good. And by all means, ask questions and comment below. I've got other things coming up in the future. C4 Labs have sent me some lovely cases. I've got one here which is kind of on the brew. There you go. There you go. I'm building here a Raspberry Pi cluster. A little bit more about this case in the next video. I think I'm going to do on that. SDR Play sent me a an SDR Play Duo and an RSP1 to play with. SBI, they sent me the HF Plus, so I've still got things to do with all of those things. And what else? Yeah, a couple of other companies have asked me whether I'd do some bits and pieces for them, which I'm quite happy to do. I will, if anybody out there has any sort of suggestions that they want to see in the future, please comment below, because obviously it all helps. And again, thank you really very much for all of the subscribers over the last few months. I'm now up to, I think, almost 550 subscribers. I want to get to the magic 1,000. That will be a massive boost for me, but also it does actually mean that I can really do some really sort of funky sort of live things, which I want to try and do. M0 JFP has asked me to do something for I'll show you here, for S-Hail. Now he's asked me to do a little kit for providing a bias T for the LMBs for the S-Hail receive, and we've just recently managed to get, James has managed to get the SDR Play to work with the TV decoding sort of stuff. And this is the little LMB that I designed, sorry, the LMB bias T that I designed just to kind of give the so you can flick between vertical and horizontal. It's a bit of work in progress, and I thought that it might be a nice touch, because actually this is kind of design in progress. It's just a bit of fun, and it was never intended too serious. And yeah, there's some alterations that I've kind of made, and it's just nice to sort of see, even when you've designed something and it kind of goes wrong, it's how you get out of things. And this is one of those sort of cases, and yeah, but it works really well. We're very pleased with that. It did actually work. But we're going to do I'm going to do a little video, and we are selling these little kits basically at cost, and you can build along. So then at the end of it, you'll get a working bias T. You'll be able to use, you know, basically an octagon twin LMB, which I might have one here somewhere. And I'll get it. Yeah, so you can use the octagon twin LMB here, and that will essentially give you I think it's 10 gigs in, and then about 739 megs out. And what with the addition of this little thing here, you'll be able to get this to work, and you'll be able to receive SAIL with an old Sky dish. So there you go. Good stuff. But anyway, again, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like I said before, if you did, then comment or thumbs up, whatever, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.